What is up, Entree fam? Welcome to, I always want to say the Friday live day, but it's actually Monday live day. Welcome to the stream, everybody. So tonight, since I know I couldn't do the Friday stream this past week, we had 11 inches of snow that I know of that came from our neck of the woods, or my neck of the woods over here. So yeah, needless to say, interesting commute, interesting drive, and all of that stuff. Let me make sure I have the comments up here and we can get things rolling. But if you're watching this live or on the replay, I appreciate you for being here. We have Mathematica Humanista. What's up, Carlos? Welcome to the stream. Good to see you. So tonight, good people, we are going to be talking about the difference between investing versus losing money on YouTube, because it's a very, very, very fine line between the two. And a lot of times you'll see, let's just throw it out there. Can we be real? Can we be a little real tonight? A lot of times you'll see content creators everywhere always talking about, here's my YouTube link, here's the affiliate link, here's this promo code, here's this whatever, everywhere. I don't care what you're into or what you're doing. Everybody is sharing their links for some of anything and everything out there. Nothing wrong with that. You have to make money for your business and the things that you're doing so that you get a return on your investment of time, your investment tools, resources, and then the whole shindig. However, at some point as entrepreneurs, we have to look at what we're actually doing and not just be so wooed by the good website copy or the good, marketing, just techniques, or just the salesmanship of the people that we have come to care about online, and really think about our wallets. And so I love those like Capital One commercials, depending on where you may be watching this from, those Capital One commercials that will say, what's in your wallet. So it's just like, okay, well, it's different things in everybody's pocket. But the one thing that's true is currency. So that being the thing, it's like we really do have to look at, what's really in our wallet. What do we have to invest in? And there is a difference, and there's like different times where you do want to consider investing versus just spending money. So it's like, what's that line? Where do we draw the line between like when we are just legit throwing money everywhere, hoping something sticks, like throwing spaghetti at the wall, hoping to see which noodles stick versus the others, versus like strategically tacking and pinning, like I'm knowing that I'm doing something that's going to actually make a difference, versus it's like at what point, can we, I don't want to throw in the issue of trust, but that's what we buy off of. We purchase from and through people based off of trust. I know I've made several sales in my business. I get coaching clients. I get all those different types of things, and it's through trust. They either trust your judgment, they trust that you will help them, they trust that you know what you're talking about. Like there is some level of trust there, that know, like, and trust factor that goes into why somebody is spending money with you at all, whether it's affiliate links or whether it's with something that you have directly. And so it's like at some point we have to go beyond like who we trust and who we like and what makes sense. You just really look at what makes sense. And that's different than what most people will tell you when it comes to like salesmanship. Whether you're reading that online, essentially like website copy and all that is essentially salesmanship in print. But whether it's a video like this or anything else, and we're talking about selling, like, yeah, it's like, it's nice to know that you can get, whatever sales based off of whatever content that you're producing. But at some point we have to look at like what makes legit sense, what's not just logical, but what's actually going to actually help us either way. So before we dive any deeper, let me jump in this chat. So Jake Smith, welcome to the community. So some no snow in Detroit. Well, I don't know how that happened, because I've been to Detroit when it's bone chilling cold, and this is like ridiculous. I don't see how we get like 11 or something and y'all get none. So, but I'm sure y'all don't mind not having snow yet up there. Deshaun Watson, what's up? Welcome to the stream. Thompson, what am I watching? Welcome to YouTube. This is a video. Do you mean like what stuff I'm using to do this stream or something else? So let me know. Give me some more details there and I'll be able to answer your question. But take a sip of my tea here. But yeah, so when we're talking about investing, let's just go that route. Like I said, we was talking about the know, like, and trust factor when it comes to selling and all of that stuff, which is great. You do need to know that. You need to be aware of how to present your information and stuff like that so that you can begin to make money. It's like something like to the effect of like 95 to 90% of any, especially like in America, is of the people is like mostly consumers. And then the rest of that is just that small factor and that small group that is the sellers. And so, you know, it's like, yeah, from time to time you may see your friends selling something, but I mean like the major pushers and movers in the world are sellers. To get your piece of the pie, as it were, or anything like that, it's like we got to look beyond value and all that. So I'll touch on that a little bit later, but right now let's talk about the spending aspect. So I have affiliate links. I have a product that I'm having come out very shortly here, the Entree Insiders Video Academy. That's coming up. I have courses, little mini courses available on my site. I have online coaching that I sell. Like, I have stuff available, right? I have affiliates, whether that is through Amazon, QuickBooks, self-employed app, like, again, partnerships with different companies, and that results in me making money. The stuff that I just bought recently from Amazon was from money that I got from a gift card through affiliate sales that I used and got Amazon money with that. So, you know, it's like, we're not naive to the idea that people are going to make some kind of profit off of the things that we're doing or whatever, even though it's a benefit to you. But at what point is it too much? You know, at what point is it just a waste of time, a waste of money, or it's just kind of like selfish on the seller's part because you're knowing that it's not going to help people for real? And that's kind of what led me into wanting to start the M50 series, because a lot of people will tell you to buy. Like, I was honestly looking through a lot of different channels, a lot of different review channels and all of that, and they'll say, you know, like they'll do like 1 or 2 videos for a review of a camera or some kind of gear or something. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. It could be a paper clip for who knows, or a planner, you know. They'll give you 1 or 2 reviews and then that's it. Like, go buy it. It'll be great for you. But they don't teach you anything else about it. You don't learn anything else about it. It's just legit a review of that thing. And then if you look at like the whole channel, it's nothing but like a bunch of review of stuff. And so it's like, I was thinking like that, like, how are you supposed to learn all the stuff that you need to learn other than just buy it and then do like I did, which was essentially start searching on Google, start searching on YouTube, and find your own answers and all of that stuff. So did they really provide a service to you? Did they really, you know, give you some kind of value? I mean, you guys can let me know what your chats are, what your thoughts are in the chat, whether you're watching this live or on the replay. Like, is that of real service, or do you feel like that's of real service to you? Or do you feel like that's not super helpful? Like, it was cool because they led you to the thing that, you know, helped you out, but they didn't teach you anything else about it. Like, you don't know anything else. So now you can't use that person as a resource anymore. You got to go someplace else. So like, I can talk about this microphone all day long and how much I love it and it's great and you should get one. And then you go get one. You're like, okay, but I don't know nothing about this stuff. So how does this work? Like, even though it's simple, and be like, yeah, it's a USB, you just plug it in. But it's like, okay, what happens after that? You know, it's like, help me. And then either you don't hear from them in the comments, like you put comments in, you never get a reply. It could be 6 months later, I go through some videos and it's like no replies at all. And then it's just like, what are you supposed to do? Yeah, some kind of self-reliance and stuff like that. But at what point are you going to continue to do that over and over? Because when I started with my stuff, I had to invest in the lights. I knew like I would hear that you need these things. And especially if you were wanting to, it's not just like being a YouTuber, but just invest in the stuff that I know I need for my business, to be able to do videos for my courses, to do videos like this. like I knew I would need this stuff to kind of improve the quality and all of that. But at the same time, like I really don't know how to put these, as simple as it can seem like to me now. It's like at the time I was just like, I don't know how to put this stuff together to make it make sense. Like at what point is it a waste of money, or did I waste my money? And at what point is it super helpful? And for me, the first several thousands of dollars that I spent in my business for getting stuff for YouTube and online video to start promoting my business and all that, complete and total waste of money. I'm like super pissed for a lot of stuff. But before I dive into that, I'll jump into these comments. So, Carlos, you're saying, let me spread this out here. Hopefully that's easy to read for everyone. Said, I'm still figuring out how my work and content in YouTube will be part of all the things I do. I work as a teacher, and I realize that YouTube is not necessarily a standalone endeavor. Let's see here. What is important to me is the overall composition, how YouTube can create synergy with the other things I already do. So some of my investments have not succeeded, but I'm finding my pace. And those are really good points, because I think for all of us, that's essentially what it's like. They will tell you how to spend the money. Don't tell you nothing else about, for real, anything else. Anything after that is behind like a paywall. Like you need to invest in this thing to figure out the rest. Again, I get it. I understand. I'm in the process of launching my own course. So for certain things, yes, it will be behind a paywall. But at one point, when it comes to the things that we're doing, like we always talk about creating value, what exactly does that mean? You know what I'm saying? Like to make a difference to where you're making money or whatever. So like that was my same thing as well. I think everybody is a teacher. You can always teach something, whether you love football, whether you love baseball. And sometimes some of the best coaches, they weren't like the best players, but they get the everything around the psychology, the fundamentals, and all of this and that or whatever. Like they weren't the VIP, like, the best coaches in the world, they weren't all like the VIPs of their time or whatever. But for whatever reason, they understand and they get it. So like, I believe everybody's a teacher. So you do have something to teach. So just because it's not revolved around a physical thing, it's information based. Like Carlos, I know you're into the mathematics and the psychology portion of it and all of that stuff. But at the same time, I want to pull back up one of your previous comments. You said, I'm still figuring out how my work and content in YouTube will be a part of all the things I do. So, question, what are all the things that you may do? You just listed like 2 or 3 in the comments to follow up with that if you're open to that. But I think that, and you're saying like I work as a teacher, and I realized that YouTube is not necessarily a standalone endeavor. I think that for a lot of things, you're right with what you're saying from your perspective. For me, I found that, it's like for some things, like, because people have had success on YouTube. We know that. We all know that. We see that. People are successful on YouTube. But at the same time, some people, they have like comedy content. Other people have like just whatever other stuff that they're doing that's solely based on YouTube. I think it's about finding that happy medium between what makes sense to share this in video that complements what I'm doing in my business. So for me, when I first got started, the only things that I was sharing was stuff that I thought that would be relative to individuals that were my coaching clients, or eventually become my coaching clients for small and home-based business consulting. If it dealt with something like how to accept payments, how to do all these different things, it's answering questions that somebody just getting started in a home-based business would have. And essentially, I think the aspect of coming from it from like the perspective of the questions that they're looking for answers to is where YouTube shines best. Yeah, it has that relational aspect to it. And yeah, it has that aspect that is all about relationships and community and funny and all that stuff that makes us human. But at the same time, how to is like one of the number one search phrases, or, you know, in the top 5 at least search phrases in YouTube. It's how to do something. So knowing that people are coming here to learn about something is just figuring out what they're, I didn't mean to do that. Let me resize this right. So it's just about learning what they're coming here to learn about in your specific topic, or whatever that thing is that you're actually talking about. And I think a lot of times when we are looking at like what gear to invest in, which is like a lot of content that I've been producing lately, is nearly almost all surrounded around gear. Like I said, we're running into tax season, so I'm outlining these next set of videos that'll be talking about, you know, finances and taxes and that kind of stuff, and how that fits into what you're doing with YouTube and business and all of that different stuff. But at the same time, you know, like you still have to, like they say, you got to spend money to make money, or some people say you got to make money, or make some money, have some money to spend money. I'm a little biased in the fact that if it's something that you want bad enough, then you'll find a way to get it, because there's no shortage of sales on Black Fridays for like big screen TVs and PlayStations and Xboxes. So I think if we're talking about, like, at what point is it like a waste of money for me to do this and like an investment, you know, then it's like, But y'all let me know in the comments. And again, if you're watching this on the replay, you can comment down below. But let me know what you think. Do you think that for you personally, not like you are comparing yourself to the biggest and brightest and the best on YouTube in your eyes, but do you honestly think that you need to be on YouTube? Like, let's just throw it out there. Like, let me know in the comments and in the chat and all that. Do you honestly think that you need to be on YouTube, or do you think that it's just like a maybe kind of thing? Or like, let me know your thoughts on that, because I think knowing that, how you feel about it and what your beliefs about it are, will highly dictate where you decide to put your money. You put your money where your values are. And I think if you don't value this platform, it won't matter what I say about what camera. It won't matter about anything else. And I, like I said, I was like super frustrated when I first was getting started with online video, simply because I thought that you needed to like have a whole bunch of money to get all of this stuff. But over time, for my own personal preference and what I envision in my mind, and getting that to come to a reality, is what I'm producing now. This is the stuff that I eventually have invested to make all of this possible for myself. But I'm starting with like clamp lights from Home Depot or Lowe's, I think it was, and my Canon T5i. And before that was like a little Canon point and shoot camera. And before that was my smartphone, which was not great at all. I think it was like a 5 megapixel camera, which is, I don't know, probably barely better than a flip phone. But I'm trying to think even, it's like just the way technology has progressed over time is crazy. But I think that when it comes to like getting all of this stuff, it should be the last thing that you do. But if you do it, it should be an important thing that you do. If you know that you just financially don't have $1,000 to invest, but you make a way to find that money to actually put it towards your business and getting your business visible through online video, through YouTube, I think at that point, the difference between investing and losing money is when you don't have a clear plan. And when you don't have a clear plan, like many of us don't when we're first really getting started, we just know and we hope that what we're doing will pay off. I hope that people will buy this thing because I'm now talking about it through video. I hope that people will show up because I'm doing a live. I hope that people will buy through my affiliate link because it's available. Like, it's a lot of hope that happens in the beginning in those early stages versus just, kind of being present, because we have to think we're in a sea of people. We're in a sea of people probably doing the same thing, sharing very similar information, knowing we're not first to the game. We're not, it's like you're not first in that whole YouTube search type thing, the whole YouTubeosphere, as I call it. But, just knowing that if you have a plan for how this thing is going to make you money, then that's the difference for me between it being an investment versus it just being something that you just kind of waste your money on. And it's just like, dag, I spent all this money on YouTube and then I quit. I go through my Facebook marketplace a lot and I see people that have invested in stuff before, and you can tell they haven't, like, is sat on the tripod for a few months and then it barely got some use, and you don't see anything else out of it. So you're essentially getting like a brand new camera or brand new whatever type equipment and stuff. Especially like I look for equipment for my church, me being head of video, I look for all of the kind of gear and stuff that I would want or need through there. It's super helpful. And it's just like, you can tell they didn't have a plan for what they want to do. They just thought, if I make videos, then I'll make money. And unfortunately, the bubble burst on that is that it doesn't always work out that way. And because it doesn't, a lot of people are hesitant to do it because they're like, I don't know if it will. And the only surefire way that you can begin to put a plan together to know if YouTube is going to work for you is if you are investing intentionally, knowing that this is the way that I plan to use this thing. I had a problem with the Elgato Cam Link price tag. I think because at the local camera stores and like electronic stores like Best Buy and all that, the price is always higher there than it is in, like on Amazon. But then you may have to wait if you're having to get it from a different seller that's not, Prime, like enabled or whatever. You gotta wait, and it's like that 2-day shipping screwed everybody's life up, because if it's longer than 2 days, it's just like, why in the world, So that was one of those things. So for me, I went to the local store and I bought it. And I paid, I think at that time it was still $129. And so I remember having a conversation with my mom, and I was thinking like, okay, well, I need to get this thing that'll help me with streaming, because at the time I only had the Panasonic JD5. I think I had sold the Canon M6 by then. And so that was my camera, and I'm like, well, I can use this for that. Same conversation I had when I was investing in the Logitech C920. And I'm like, well, this is a USB webcam to help me invest. It helped me with the live streams and doing this. I wasn't doing these regular live streams. I wasn't doing the regular Friday live days or anything like that. But in anticipation of that, and knowing that that was something I wanted to do, I had a plan for how I was going to use that. But then, too, we also have to think about the time frames. And if you are subscribed to the Entree Chats Daily podcast, then I definitely encourage you to listen to today's episode, because I was talking about how goals don't always work, and they don't always hit that time frame level of expectation that we would hope that they hit. So we hope that goals hit by a specific time frame, and then they don't. And then what do we do after that? So same thing with, especially like now we're getting close into February. It's like the 15th of the month tomorrow. And so, we're halfway through the month of January, and before you know it, February will be here. And by then, most people that set New Year's resolutions to resolve some problem that they had is just fallen by the wayside by then. So it's just going to be, I'll do it later kind of thing. So to avoid kind of having that, because nice live stream is going to be pretty short, but to avoid kind of falling into that pitfall, I think it's super important to know that when you have a plan for what you're going to do, and you put a time frame that lets you kind of work things out, maybe you don't quite hit that goal by when you would hope to, but at the same time, maybe you do. Who knows? But you won't know. You're guaranteed to fail if you don't put the effort forward and you don't try at all. It's a lot of hesitations and fears that we have about different. I'm telling you, like, as I was having my mastermind call tonight, I was talking about just like even some of my reservations, some of my concerns, some of my frustrations with launching this course. And I'm like, okay, well, it's getting down to the wire. It's getting ready to hit very soon. And it's just like, okay, like all of these different things, and your mind starts to just ramble all over the place. And it's just like, what in the heck is going on here? But at the same time, you have a clear plan. It's just like that. Those anxieties are going to come. But at the same time, so it's like, it's not about not investing in your stuff that you would need for YouTube or it's not really even just for YouTube. I use that term almost synonymously with online video, because it could be Facebook is your jam, Instagram is your jam. It just depends. It just depends on where your people are. So I say YouTube, simply because second largest search engine of the world, and a lot of people searching for how-to questions in any topic of the world. And so I think you can find your people here too. But at the same time, it just depends on where your people are. But then what questions are they having, and how do you plan to answer those questions in a way that will be able to help you figure out how you can execute your plan in a way that makes the things that you're investing in profitable. So Carlos, you are saying I don't have a fully set up plan, and I believe that my network is more on Facebook than it is on YouTube. And you know what? That's completely, it's good that you know that, and that's completely fine, because not everybody is, ideally maybe where you would like them to be, or maybe it takes time to build them up in a different area than you would hope to. Like, I think you can generally build on any platform, but just, again, that timing, how long is it going to take to draw an audience of, even 50 to 100 on one platform versus another, and some are more lucrative in that way. And so if you know that your people are on Facebook and they engage with you, and your analytics show that they stay on to any live streams, or they watch through most of the videos, or most of like 80%, 70% of the video or whatever, like, okay, they're staying on up until whatever point. If you know, like, this is where your people receive you best, then that's where you have to go. That's the main reason I left I left Facebook and came to YouTube, because I knew my community that I want to engage with is more so in the way that I want to produce content. They're more on YouTube, because when it comes to this kind, like, you're not searching on Facebook, camera stuff. You're not trying to figure out a review. You're not trying to learn how to understand. Like, I can post these exact same videos on Facebook, no traction or hardly any. And just for the sake of concept, it's like I very well will upload them and drip them out on Facebook. No traction really. So, and every platform kind of works differently too. So yeah. So, Carlos, you're saying the 30-minute limit of the Canon M50 is breaking me, since my content is mainly 1 hour long webinars. So I'm thinking about buying a GH5 or something like that. Are you using the HDMI portion of it, or are you using the USB method that I show on the M50 series? Because we're streaming now over 30 minutes, just now hitting that 30-minute mark. And I can go for an hour. The Friday live days are typically a little bit over an hour, or right at an hour. No problem. So it's just a matter of which method are you using. And then 2, are you a PC or a Mac user? So if you're a Mac user, then you can use that USB method and just stream that way. And then, of course, like, I don't know the other platforms, but that's how I stream. I have a Panasonic G85, phenomenal camera. But at the same time, like, I don't use it as much if I have the option between that and the M50, because I get, great autofocus. I can move back and forth. It works fine. I can put something up and it focuses versus with the G85, essentially Panasonic cameras in general. Like, I'm just kind of stuck. But, it's either way it would work. But yeah, that's my go-to solution with that. But yeah, if you're talking about just webinars or something like that, you don't have to reduce it down to that. That's solely by choice. So you're saying that I am a PC user and you're using the HDMI. Okay. There's a video on, or not a video. There is a link under the video where I share the USB method of how to stream like this. I would suggest watching that, see if that's something that you want to consider, because I know that unless I'm doing like a quick presentation type something or whatever, I always use the USB method for the M50. I'm not using the HDMI because it's just not, they really didn't set it up for long-term streaming that way for whatever reason. So you'd have to keep waking the camera back up, like partially pressing the shutter button on the camera or something like that to wake it back up before you could continue. Versus with the USB method, I don't have to touch anything. It's not even within an arm's length away. It's about 2 arms length away. A little bit, yeah, about 2 arms length away. So you don't have a Mac. I wish I had Ecamm Live. That's like between Final Cut Pro, Ecamm Live, and then some of the other systems and stuff like that. Main reason I was like, I've been a PC user all my life. Like I literally just went and picked up from my mom, like an old iPhone, just so I can test that out with using the Mac to see if I want to get one. But I primarily only reason I picked up a Mac because the systems is just like ease of use. Like I want to sit down and just start. I don't want headaches at all. I was going through, honestly, for the PC version of it, to use the USB method and try to think through a much simpler way than what I've been seeing online. I'm not seeing anything that compares to what I'm doing right now. So and I'm using a 2013 MacBook Pro. I'm not using some super expensive computer. I'm not using some multi-$1,000 laptop setup. $60 microphone, $700-$800 laptop's probably cheaper now. But I would even want to test a MacBook Air to see if you can get away with that. But other than that, it's like I don't spend a whole bunch of money. And I bought it used. I bought this MacBook used. But for that reason alone, so I could have access to the better systems that just work, I invested in a MacBook. And I have not regretted it since. Personally, for me, it's been the best investment that I've ever made. And again, that's another one of those like investment versus losing money kind of things. Because it's like, if it's just the difference in me switching cameras is not saving me any money. It'll cost money at that point. And so I will have lost money for investing in it. But because like I already knew last year, I'm like, there is no way I want to continue on this process. It's taking too much time for editing. It's taking too much time for me to get set up. Instead of me just being able to say, okay, I got 10 minutes between when I can start the next live stream or whatever. Let me go get me some tea. Go use the restroom, blow my nose, and I'm good to go. So, and that's literally it. If I'm trying to do some other thing, it's like, okay, I got to use this and click here and do all of that. Like, it's too frustrating for me. That's why I went Mac. And it's not like one of those Mac is better than PC and Android. Like, all of that nonsense set aside, it just works, and it works really, really well. I can't stop using it now. So like my PC, my poor PC, it just sits over there, and I feel bad for my G85 too, because I'm like, I have the perfect setup for me. So if the M50 is not working for you, if you want the G85 or GH5 or something like that, it's like, yeah, you'll get the incredible features that come with the GH5, like phenomenal. But at the same time, for me, it's like the autofocusing issue. They continue to work on it, but it's like, I just don't want to play that game no more, personally, because I've used the G85 and I have it and I love it, but not for everything that I want to do, personally, my personal opinion. So, but with that, I'm going to wrap it up so we can keep the integrity of tonight's stream so it can be short and I can douse myself with plenty of medicine and fight off any of these nasty germs floating about in this 11-inch snowy weather. But if you enjoyed tonight's conversation, make sure you leave a like for the video and comment down below whether you're watching it live or on the replay. What things have you invested in that you wish that you spent money on, because it's not an investment if you lost money on it necessarily. What things have you spent money on that either you haven't found a way to make it an investment yet, or that was just a complete and total bomb for you and it's like, I wish I never bought it? For me, it'd be that Rode Smart Lav microphone It's like $60, and it is no better than that pop voice microphone for like $7 or $12. So it's a waste of money. Worst, it was not an investment. It was a waste of money. And so that's my thingy baba. But you guys let me know down in the comments down below. Carlos, you saying, thanks, Diana. Always a pleasure, my friend. Always a pleasure. But guys, with that, I will leave you with my favorite quote that I always love to say that I forgot when I was doing the live stream, not the live stream, but the podcast, which is a quote by Jim Rohn, which says, the winds of life blows on us all, but it's how you set your sail. So with that, guys, live with passion. And as always, I'll see you guys on the next video.